Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Erickson TV. Curtis here with Lauren. Hello Lauren.
Hey Curtis.
Hey Lauren, the last week's episode, if people you're watching this one watched it, we did a greatest hits on filing extensions.
Right.
I just wanted to do one editorial caveat for those of you thinking that was a live episode. When we filmed that episode, the tax extension deadline, because it was on a weekend and a holiday, was April 18th a few years back. However, this year the extension deadline is April 15th. So I didn't want you to think that you can wait till the 18th to file your taxes, because I can tell you that Lauren and I and Shelley will not be here on the 16th. Now, this is the current episode is live. So recently there was a death of a celebrity, and this might be going way before your time. Yeah, but I have vague memories of a gentleman named Mickey Rooney, who was 93 years old. And the interesting thing about Mickey was he goes back to almost the history of our entertainment business. He was a vaudeville performer back at age 6, back in like the 1920s. And then he became one of the contemporary young famous actors. He acted with Shirley Temple, who also died last year. Acted in a series called Andy Hardy. And then later on in life he took on some more adult roles. He was in things like he was in like National Velvet with Elizabeth Taylor, and then later on he was in some other movies. But the point of it is, he was a person that lived a long time and made massive money over the life of his acting career. And the interesting thing was, they said that he just died on March 11th, and the court papers filed said that he had all of $18,000 left to his name. Was the last of his asset. And then you start reading further into the deal, and I read some other articles, and they said that during later parts of his life, Mickey became an advocate for elder abuse. In fact, he sued his stepson for mismanagement of his funds later in life, and claimed this lost several $1 million of investments.
Right. And
then at the very tail end of his life, he was married 8 different times. So that's not a good strategy for wealth management. But he took all of his sons and daughters from his 8 marriages out of the will, and his last wife, who he divorced, he took her out of the will, and he left all of it to his stepson, who was his caretaker, and his wife. All 18,000. The sad part of the tale is that Mickey is currently buried in Forest Lawn Memorial Park, which was his wishes, and the previous family from the 8 wives are all squabbling and fighting, trying to get him removed from there to somewhere else. And so a lot of things to get from that.
Oh boy.
So the takeaway is a couple things. First of all, about managing investments, or picking the right person to manage your investments later in life. The second part of it is estate planning.
Right.
And then the third part of it is, even if you don't have a huge estate, it can show you by not having a good estate plan what can happen.
And actually, I was just talking to a client about that issue. In Washington State, it's not a state like, say, California, where it seems like in California almost everybody needs an estate plan. In Washington State, many people maybe don't need one, but the real benefit of doing a lot of this estate planning is often not for the actual client. It's often for after the client dies, so that this kind of squabbling and fighting and all this other kind of stuff doesn't happen. It's similar to a lot of the things that we recommend that you do are things that if everybody was just going to act according to common sense, right, we wouldn't have to worry about it. But that's not what it happens when you become emotional, or when you become upset, or when you become very sick, or after you die. People don't act that way.
Right.
So it's really often very helpful to make sure that you have everything legal and written out, so that these kinds of, it's really just sad.
It's a sad story. And my takeaway from it is that is to consider, even if your estate isn't particularly huge, to have your investments managed by somebody that takes a fiduciary oath, because hiring sometimes your relative or your a family member creates just all. I think that's kind of what set off these internal squabbles.
Yeah.
More so than anything
you really
else.
don't want to hire a family member to try to manage your money, or to try to manage your estate. I think that if it's some just random family member who doesn't do that for a living, that creates a problem, because they're not they're supposed to act according to a fiduciary
Right.
standard, but that's not their profession. That's not what
Right.
they do for a living. They don't really know what it is.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, anyway, I thought it was an interesting story, and it was kind of a sad one, but maybe we can learn something from it. So we'll see you next time on Erickson TV. Bye now.
See you next time.